Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of The Leading Issue. I'm Anne Francke, the Chief Executive of CMI, and we regularly talk to leading leaders about the issues in management and leadership that really make a difference. Today, I'm absolutely honored to have Richard Harpin with us. Richard is, like me, a Procter & Gamble alum, but he's gone on to found what has become an extremely successful FTSE 100 business called HomeServe, which he grew from its inception. He's also written a book on leadership and, like me, is a Times columnist. And I know he's going to have wonderful insights to share with us today. Welcome, Richard.
Thanks, Anne. Great to be here.
So, Richard, let's start with maybe you can tell us a bit about your career and particularly about how you got to where you are now, thinking very deeply about leadership and success.
Yeah, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and my big break came in Newcastle upon Tyne. I was running a property management business, and the big difficulty was tenants calling on a Friday evening, broken boiler, a blocked drain, a burst pipe, and we could not get a Geordie plumber for love nor money on a Friday evening in Newcastle upon Tyne. So that was the business opportunity, and set up A1 Fast Fix with a couple of Geordie plumbers and advertised in Yellow Pages, A1 Fast Fix to get it at the front of the Yellow Pages, and we couldn't make the model work. So we pivoted. We eventually found a little water utility in Surrey that had a plumbing insurance scheme. We got some backing from another water company, South Staffs Water, and we launched our home assistance cover, annual membership to cover all the things that go wrong in your home. And that was a model, stuck with it, and took a £50,000 original investment to a FTSE 100 company before we sold to Brookfield Infrastructure earlier this year for over £4 billion. And I think a key part of that was all about leadership. I think my three behaviours that we've applied across HomeServe: courage, persistence, and integrity. Keeping going until you make something happen. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. Courage in going beyond where people would expect, doing things that are courageous. And then integrity is not about honesty, it's more about confronting the brutal facts, having those honest conversations. And in terms of leadership, we all know we'd look back and say, not, I wish I'd kept that person in my business longer, but I wish I'd had that conversation earlier to say, you're not a good enough fit, you'll be great elsewhere, but not right for my business. So have those honest conversations.
Yeah, those are all very important aspects of leadership. And as you and I both know, we started our careers at P&G, a company well known for investing in leadership. Did you pick up any practices there that you might have still used in your own business?
Absolutely, and I loved my 4 years at Procter & Gamble in Newcastle. And I worked on Fairy Liquid and Camay soap and Vortex bleach. And I think the whole system of being a brand manager was about being a mini managing director with full accountability for your brand, for your business. And that was the really important learning. And if I've learned one thing in my 45-year career so far, and I am still learning, that is hire really good people. And if you've got a great leader at the top of the business, regardless of the economic conditions or any problem, I'm a big believer that the right leader can turn a problem into an even bigger opportunity. So that was my number one learning. Number two was Procter & Gamble had a saying, have done, can do, will do in recruitment. So find people who have done it, have had the business results elsewhere, and make sure you're not taking a gamble on hiring somebody that is not proven enough, because that's those recruitment decisions If you're interviewing somebody and you don't feel, wow, this person is absolutely amazing, I'm enjoying this interview so much, I really, really want to work with this person. If you don't feel that, then don't hire them. Keep looking.
Yeah, I remember very well the ritual with the paper clips, where you had to actually pick up 3 paper clips if you felt, as you described, that what a great person this would be, down to 0 paper clips if you thought, no way would I want to work with this person. And everybody dropped their clips on the table simultaneously. So there was quite a lot of instinct in some of those hiring decisions. So yes, that's a great learning. So you shared some of the behaviors that matter to you in leadership. But what are some of the other characteristics that you think make a great leader, and what characterizes the opposite?
Yeah, so I would list some of those: resilience, persistence, curiosity to keep on learning, asking lots of intelligent questions, low ego, real grafters. I'm from Yorkshire, and we believe up there in hard work, confronting the brutal facts. What Jim Collins, the business guru who wrote Good to Great, and I'm a great admirer of his, what he would call a level 5 leader. And then I think some of those things that make really bad leaders, and certainly not level 5 leaders, they're political, they use management consultants, they're concerned about their own career rather than the success of the business that they're running, and they're very focused on their own financial returns and money. So there's some great things that you should look for, and those are the things that you should make sure in hiring leaders you avoid.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you've distilled some of the secrets of your success into your 8 secrets to a £1 billion business. Tell us a little bit more about it, and how did it come about?
Yeah, I have a copy right here in front of me. Anybody can go to my website, richardharpin.com, and download a free copy of that. There are 8 things that I know now, 30 years into my HomeServe journey, which I wish somebody had told me right at the very beginning. And if they had, I wouldn't have made so many mistakes, and perhaps we could have got there in 15 years rather than 30. And so what I've done is I've taken those 8 things that I know now and turned them into the 8 secrets to build a £1 billion business. And I think they're really important. They're in order. And what's most important is the anecdote that goes with each of those learnings. And I won't go through all 8 individually. I'll perhaps pick out a few. And the first one is copy and pivot. When you're setting up a business, don't grow it quickly until you know that you found the right model. We're taught at school, aren't we, that copying is bad, but actually in business, copying and improving is really, really good. So find the right business model, then when you've got it, then expand it like mad.
Yeah, that's what you did, isn't it, with HomeServe? Your first business model didn't work, so you had to pivot, right?
Exactly. And the key thing is that I want to get those 8 secrets out to the forgotten medium. We have about 5.5 million businesses here in the UK, only 7,700 large companies. Those large companies account for 53% of our exports, 39% of our working population, and we need more large companies. We talk a lot about startups and SMEs, but we don't talk about the forgotten medium, the scale-ups. There are 110,000 of those in the UK, and those are the ones that we need to encourage, teach them leadership skills, teach them the 8 secrets, and help them to become large companies. That's what this economy needs.
Yes, absolutely. That is a proven point about growing productivity, is focusing on those middle businesses and nurturing them. But in your own nurturing of HomeServe to a FTSE 100 business, how much would you put down to the quality of your people, your managers and your leaders?
I would say all of it.
Mhm.
Let me tell you a little story. 8 years ago, I'm a bit slow on the uptake. I went to Harvard Business School for 4 days to work out what my career objectives should be. And after 4 days, I only came up with 2 words. And those words were inspire breakthrough. And I hope if you went to any of the chief execs in HomeServe that run the individual businesses, the individual countries, they would say that I challenged them and I inspired them, and together we achieved more than we ever thought was possible. And that's the key. So it is about setting the vision, getting everybody bought in, and then having an amazing team that can really make that happen.
Yeah, that is so vitally important. And I know you've recently qualified as a business coach, and you've mentioned you want to bring more capability to those middle-sized businesses and you're mentoring leaders. Tell us again why you think that's so important for Britain's future.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in learning, skills development. And if you look at the thousands of successful business leaders that we've got out there that have moved from executive careers, they've either stood down, retired, gone plural, they're working as non-execs. We need to get more of them back engaged with medium-sized businesses to say, I've got a lot of business knowledge and experience, and I want to help you to be able to grow. And so I spent and invested 12 days of my time this year to qualify as a business coach at INSEAD to improve my skills over and above my business knowledge and experience and mentoring. So I came back from INSEAD Business School with a new technique called coachment. And that's around taking people with business learning and experience over many years that may or may not be doing mentoring today and training them to be business coaches. And business coaching is all about providing a safe space for somebody to have a confidential discussion. The role of the coach is not to advise or to tell. It is to facilitate asking really intelligent questions in order to help that coachee to think more about how they overcome their issue, their problem, or their opportunity. And I think that's a really good technique to help somebody think more about their person, their role, and the organization that they're leading or that they're working in. And at the end of that session, we stop it, we summarize the session, and then we say, okay, I've been listening to what you're saying. Now what I want to do is start a short mentoring session. So I'm going to try and find those nuggets of my business mistakes and business learning and experience and apply it to what I've just heard through the coaching session. And I've tested that, and it's really, really powerful. Not to mix the two up, but to do the coaching followed by the mentoring. Now, in order to get people to do that, it's impossible to take somebody and give them 45 years of business experience in 12 days. So this is about finding experienced business people that want to help other businesses and train them to be coaches, because that will make them more effective mentors. So I'm really excited by that. Going to be doing quite a lot more around that area.
Yeah, that sounds great. And I know that you're also involved, as are we, with the government's Help to Grow management scheme. So we provide the alumni with free CMI membership. And I also sit on the advisory council, and I know you're involved with that scheme as well. Do you think that the UK invests enough in human capital? And what would you do to perhaps invest more in it?
Yeah, I think more can be done. I don't think it's just the responsibility of government. So I think it is government and businesses should jointly take that responsibility. The Help to Grow program is a great program. It came out of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses program, and it was Rishi Sunak when he was Chancellor that helped develop the Help to Grow program. The only issue is there was funding for 30,000 people to go through the training, and only 6,000 have been through it. And that's a real pity because it's a great course. There's some great learning. So the key bit is we've got to find a way of promoting the scheme more so that more business people can go through it and benefit from it. Secondly, I think investing in human capital. Let me talk about apprenticeships. That's really, really important. There are many sectors, whether it's the one that I work in, which is construction workers. We need 1 million more skilled construction workers by 2032. And to achieve that, we need more apprenticeships. And that's not apprenticeships within big companies like HomeServe or British Gas or some of the big house builders. We're doing lots of apprentice schemes. What's really important is getting every SME to take on their first apprentice. And they need more help to do that. They need more money. We need to make sure that we divert the large company apprentice levy to small businesses. There was a £3,000 grant to help SMEs. That needs to be reintroduced. So that's really important. The final thing I'd say is peer-to-peer mentoring. Organisations like YPO and Vistage, I think, do a good job. CMI does a great job itself. I acquired Business Leader magazine recently, and one of the objectives there was to set up a membership organisation that will be facilitated peer-to-peer mentoring. So entrepreneurs and chief execs in groups of 10 or 15, ideally classified by individual industry, to be able to learn from each other, from mistakes and opportunities and skills through a facilitated mentoring process for a monthly membership fee. So that's one of the things that I think is really important that I'm sponsoring.
Yes, well, that's peer-to-peer mentoring is a very important skill builder. But at CMI, we've also just published some research, what we're calling a Better Managed Britain campaign, and it identifies the damage that so-called accidental managers can do to their organizations and indeed to the wider economy. Were you surprised? One of the findings from that research is that 82% of people promoted into managerial positions have had no management or leadership training. Did that surprise you?
You and I, Anne, are both from Procter & Gamble, and that was a company that really believed in skills training and did a lot of it. So I think it is a shock, that statistic. I do think it's really important. In a very small way, 8 years ago, I said I want to invest my own money backing other entrepreneurs and helping them to grow. And I've so far invested £60 million in 10 businesses. We've got a new program that we're launching shortly called Growth Partner Plus. And that is all the areas that they could benefit from that we could provide some help. And part of that is around recruitment and leadership training. So absolutely, we've got to address that.
Yes, it's an absolutely shocking statistic, and you're right, because you and I came from P&G, where we really believed in training everybody as a leader very early in their career. You don't realize that that's actually not a very widespread practice. But we do know it makes a difference. That same research found that half of workers who are rating their own managers as ineffective plan to move on in the next 12 months. Do you think that businesses understand that imperative widely enough, not just private sector businesses, but also public sector, the need to train managers and leaders?
I don't think they do, but if we look at having come through the pandemic, one of the things that we've all learned is the effectiveness of video meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And using that for online training, I think is a major step forward. And what we should really be encouraging as a nation here in the UK is to say that not just for managers, not just for the senior leaders, the chief execs and the entrepreneurs in this country, I believe that everybody should be learning something all the time. And online training is a great way to be able to do that, both live through materials that are available online and through face-to-face training. So we must do more of that.
Absolutely. So you're a fan of the lifetime learning allowance that's recently been introduced?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Been talking to the Skills Minister, Rob Halfon, about how we could bring forward, that money is earmarked in 2025, how could we bring it forward and do some pilots next year to make sure that it gets off to a really fast start. But it shouldn't just be university students that qualify for funding. Everybody should have access to that lifelong learning funding. So I think that's a major move forward.
Well, absolutely. And you mentioned apprenticeships are very important, and that you believe they should be available to people of all ages and stages in life. And I think that obviously at CMI, we would agree with you. One of the big things that we've been sponsoring are management and leadership apprenticeships, because again, they can help address this issue of getting people in managerial positions, better management and leadership training. So we ask all of our guests at Leading Issue, if you could choose one issue to focus on and really resolve across the next 12 months, what would it be to build a better Britain, a better society?
I've touched on it earlier. It's all about scale-ups, helping some of the medium-sized businesses, the 110,000 of them out there, to become large companies. I would like to see that double over the next 5 years from the current 7,700. We've got some great medium-sized businesses out there. You see them on the Sunday Times growth list, the Phoebe growth list, and they're amazing businesses, but we need to do more to help them to grow. And a key part of that is skills training. Key part of that is build on the success of startup loans, where £1 billion has been lent to 100,000 businesses over the last 10 to 12 years. Now we need to do it for scale-ups.
Well, absolutely. So in a word, create more HomeServes is what you're really out to try and do based on your own journey and your own learnings. We absolutely support you in that. It sounds like you've got many interesting irons in the fire, and much of what you're doing resonates with CMI's own values. So we'd be delighted to help and support you however you can in those efforts. And thank you so much for joining us this morning, Richard, and best of luck with all you've got going on. It sounds fabulous.
My pleasure, Anne, and well done on everything that's being achieved at CMI. I think it's great.
Thank you.